Welcome back to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast. Today on the show, Mark Wilson, an author, keynote speaker, an individual that was born with brain injury, and doctors had told his parents that he would never walk or talk as he grew up to be an adult, and has lived a full life and with many adventures, a crazy sense of humor, and showing the world what can be done when you throw in a curveball when you're born and not giving up, and the will and all the power and everything else. And Mark, it is my utmost pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's a great intro. Appreciate it. And look, I'm really happy to be here. And I'm, excited for the next 40, 50 minutes.
Mark, you've done so much in your life, and it was quite funny. You've there's a lot of experiences, but we joked off air saying this you pretty much popping your cherry as your first podcast, right? You've gone and stood in front of stages, interviewed on the radio. This is the first time you're sitting down on a podcast and having a bit of a chat about your life and your story, and I'm excited to see what we discuss.
Yeah, you're popping my cherry. And I hear you've got a bit of a reputation for that. So I'm just another one kink to your belt, I guess. But yes, I've had a few speaking gigs and radio. But yeah, this is a little bit different. It's still a bit of research and just trying to tell myself it's just a friendly chat, just try and imagine you at the pub with your mate having a talk. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Awesome. So, Wobbles, co-authored with Ian Hunter.
That's
Wobbles, Tear, Laughter, Love, and Inspiration. Book by yourself. Yourself was someone dropped it off at my house about 2 weeks ago for me to have it to read. Now, honestly, I can say I don't read much physical books. My daughter is addicted to books. This one and James Laughlin's Habit of High Performance is the last two books in the last month that I've read in 10 years. I was going to take the book every morning with my coffee, read 20 pages, and sort of over the couple of weeks get through the book, because it's just not something I do as much anymore. Picked it up the first day, first cup of coffee, I did 100 pages straight. This, I must say, Mark, I've read many books. I finished this in like 2.5 days. I couldn't put it down. It is an amazing book, an amazing story, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. To anyone out there, Wobbles, please find it, get a copy. Such a great read. Inspirational, but I love the sense of humor. I definitely love the sense of humor and the sassiness and all the other stuff. It was such a great read. Did you enjoy putting the book together and the whole journey of that?
I was very reluctant. The book came out after my 21st birthday in Hunter by a neurodevelopmental therapist. We haven't worked together since I was 6. I kind of walked after that, and we carried on. But yeah, he was still part of my life. So he was at my birthday, and I just heard, I guess, everyone and all my other kind of stories, and I had about 150 people there. Speeches were all way too long, but he thought, 21 years old, you've impacted all these people already. I think there's a story here. So yeah, he put it to me, and as I say, I was reluctant. I was 21, 22. Writing a book was not high on my priority list. I think beers and partying and university were kind of my top 3, and there wasn't much room for anything else. So I think he kind of said, look, well, you like to tell stories, and he's right, I like to talk. Most of it a little shit, but we all like to talk shit. So he said, look, just how about we sit down every week for an hour, and I'll ask you questions, and you just tell me, and at the end of it, we'll see what we've got. So that's how it came about. So, but we made it work, and it took 4 years to get the content together. But I'm very happy that he was very pushy. to try and get those 22, 23-year-old to sit down and write a book, was quite difficult, but we made it work,
No, it's such great in the story, and one of the things. So as you said, Ian Hunter, your specialist helped you up until the age of 6, right? But has been part of your life, and I think you've made it clear that he's one of the only specialists or only people from your youth that is still part of your life today, because you go through specialists and you move on to the next doctor, and then 20 years later, you knew them 20 years ago, but he's been part of your life and was at your 21st. One of the cool things about how you guys did this, the book and your story and everything else, is he got everyone's perception, right? So he when I was reading it, it was really cool in the knack of, obviously in the beginning it was mom, Shelley had her stuff, and then you had dad's, and so you had mom's story, and it was so clear, because I know your dad's just, straight lace, in the box sort of guy. So you'd read a chapter and it'd be 30 pages of mom talking about, say, 3 weeks of your life, and then I'd go to dad's chapter and it'd be 2 pages for the exact same 3 weeks. And it made me laugh, because it reminds me of my dad, who's an ex-military, from South Africa. So he's very much in the box. He says as much as needed to say and as little as needed and all that sort of stuff, where my mom will go on and have that big adventure. And then obviously as the book went on and on, it was mom's view, dad's view of the same situation, your view, your sister's view, right? And it was a really cool knack to see everyone's side of the journey as you went through, going through obviously the challenges that you had, or the challenges your mom had and your dad had, until, past the age of 6, of when you started going through your steps and your stages and progressing well. So, what was mom's thought of the book?
Mom, she thought people would make purpose, and they would think she was the worst mom. She was really, really scared that she was gonna get ridiculed. Like, how do you do what to her son? And she, what she wrote, also she didn't hold it. She was up until the day, and she was so very hard. It was hard to talk to her. She wasn't excited about it. She was just so concerned that their readers were going to think she was a horrible mother. And she's like, me. She always gets her shit with there. She's like, your dad just always comes across the good. Here I am doing all the hard work and copying all the shit for it. So it was really hard to make her see that, well, actually, like, the people that know her, that they know my story without reading the book, they don't think she's a bad mother. So why would the readers pick that up and get that perception of her as well? She did, it was extraordinary what she did, and I don't blame her or for any of her actions or whatever. She did whatever it took to get me to sit here and talk to you today. And no one's perfect, but I do know a lot of people in my situation that doesn't have a mother that was as dedicated as mine was, and they're not able to do the things that I am. So, getting that point across to her was very hard, but we've had some readers such as yourself. You're actually one of the very few that have read the book. They've given her feedback already and said, look, your bits have changed the way that I think about my child. And they're like, I thought that I was going to have to get counselling, but I've read your parts, and you let me know that I'm okay. It's okay to think that about your child. It doesn't make you And I think for other parents, they're worried about what their children, when they grow up, what they're going to think of them for, what they're going to think of their mum for the actions they did. But as you would have said, one, I take my hat off to her, and two, she did what she had to do. And yeah, we all get pissed off with situations. It was fucking hard.
Yeah.
I'd react in a similar way sometimes. Like, it's all part and parcel. I think someone not as strong as my mum, and wholeheartedly say, I wouldn't ever change what I have today if it wasn't for what she did.
It's so true. Look here. Yes, I've read the story. And Mark, your life, you inspiring. And what you do is it motivates and you can change the world. But sorry, mate, in your family, your mother's more inspiring and more motivating. And I loved, and there was a lot of emotion. As a parent, myself going through, I can understand the struggles. I can understand the emotions. My daughter's got autism, the struggles, and I mean, there's nowhere near, I'm not even in the same fucking universe as what your mother went through, your dad went through, your family and your sister and all the rest of it. But I have, for reading that, I see no ill judgment of what your mom did, what she had to do to get you to where you are today. And that is inspiring and amazing, and the hard work. And the biggest thing, and I know as you would feel, and and my kids, is all kids care about is not the bad thing or one or two bad things you think as a parent you did, but it was the time and the love and the care, right? That you gave as a 6, 8, 10, 12-year-old. That's what's important. When you grow up as an adult, you remember the moments of, and as a parent, sometimes we forget it. All that my kid or all that my son, especially my son wants, sometimes he just wants to sit next to me. He doesn't care what we're doing. He just wants to be there, right? And he does his thing. I don't think we want to be in each other's bubbles.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so important. But my hat's off to your mom pushing through, and and your dad, and obviously going through and meeting up with Ian and starting your rehab and the whole program of that. I know how eager your mom got into it straight away. Dad wasn't ready, right? He wanted a few more days, and mom's like, "No, we're starting today." Yeah. I'm not ready. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're starting today, right?
We love have a thing that's
Yeah.
He's going on. Hey, she will really appreciate your words, because as I said, she was quite worried. But no, I'm a national advocate for just you don't have to be this amazing parent to your child.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take them to the fucking Disneyland or just don't sit with them. Talk, watch the movie. Yeah, most kids just actually want to know what's going on in mum and dad's life. Half the time they, if they're seeing a little bit, something not quite right, they start to blame themselves, and it's like, I feel like parents are too worried about putting their problems on their children, but as a my family shared everything. We were at the dinner table, there were laughs, there were tears, there were fights. But there was nothing. We all knew what was going on in each other's lives. Whether, the business was doing good or it was doing it a bit bad, and we had to cut back. Like, that was a family discussion at the dinner table.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it doesn't happen enough now, and we're seeing kids, they aren't, and parents are too worried about protecting their kids from disappointment or making them worried. But what you're actually doing is those kids will think that they're the problem. If they see mum and dad acting a bit differently, they'll start to think, oh, it's me. And then, they go into all that spiral. So, massive advocate for just getting together. You're a family. Problems are shared. And then all of a sudden they don't become problems. They just become life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that life. And yeah, like I say, it's how we do it. And yeah, we're still pretty strong to this day, which is good.
That's amazing. Mark, so obviously you got through, and I'll get to the question later. I was thinking about whether I'll even go down the whole talk about, what cerebral palsy and everything else is, because to me, I enjoy your story. We don't need to say, hey, this is what you are, what you have or what it is, right? So at the very end of the show, we'll talk about CP, right? Because I want your story is more important than CP per se, but. Your mom and your parents wanting to give you the most opportunity and the most normal life and everything. I send you to public schooling, and college and all the rest of it, and trying to find schools that would support it. Now, so obviously, 15 years or 20 years ago, when that's the questions and start your parents looking into it, a lot of things around CP or any disabilities, a lot of public schooling didn't know what anything was along that flavor and how to support it. But knowing your parents went and found schools that would be supportive of yourself, talk me through a little bit your remembering and your journey going through school and how that was for you.
This will sound a bit odd, but I knew I was different.
Mm-hmm.
And it was well established in our family. But I wasn't known as, really different. I was still just part of our family. Up until school, I had 30 volunteers coming into the house each week. They just knew me as Mark. My sister just knew me as Mark. So going into school, that was okay, I'm just another kid. This is what normal kids do. And primary school, kids are 5 and 6.
Yep.
They don't really care. They just want to play. So their questions are, why can't Mark play with us? That's their only thing. And then we find a way to make it work, and then you play. So for me, primary school was really easy. I just fit right in, got heaps of friends. Mum and Dad did a lot to get me into the right school.
Mm-hmm.
And look, my Green Park school was massive part of my journey. The principal there, he was just the only one to say, yeah, cool, we'll just make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which was talking to Mum and Dad, that was a huge relief, because up until then they just got met with why I was a problem, not how we could make it work.
Yep.
So again, we just got lucky and they made it work, and they were so supportive. They let me carry on a bit of therapy at school, but it didn't last long. Once I was in a social group and able to go and play sport and stuff, that was all helping with my mobility and well, that as well as the therapy. I started going out that, but because of the therapy, I was already at the same age group mentally, because of some of the programs I was doing. But yeah, I know skills can be very difficult, finding the right one.
Yep.
And we did have to play the merry-go-round, and we did find a great one. They got me prepared for the next step in life. And I was never special at that school.
Mm-hmm.
I was just Mark. The teachers were the same. They treated me like another student. They try and put me in a box or
Mm-hmm.
put me over here. And they allow me to strive.
Yeah.
Which I'm really grateful for.
So true. And there's some other cool adventures you were going through at that stage. Your dad being part of the adventure type and everything else. I mean, there's the story of him buying you a go-kart, right? And mom not being very happy about that situation. And what's this, at 6 or something around that age? Yeah, that's getting your go-kart. And I love the story. And again, it's in the book. Dad buying the go-kart and then starting a racing track in the parking lot of the funeral home next door, in such a sense that all your school friends come and race and you guys have competitions. And then you had and I love the names of it. Was it like Stiff Corner and all the rest of it? The sense of humor, right? Yeah. And had a cup to that. And you went on and actually won the go-kart competition. And what was cool was your friends weren't slowing down anything because they thought you would have a challenge. They just couldn't beat you because you were so good in the go-kart. And, in the go-kart, no one would know anything different. You were just fast and better than anyone else, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that made me feel it. And that's all I really wanted. And yeah, I can last most sports at school, but it took me in a go-kart, and as you say, I'm no different to anyone else, and I could whoop the ass, and you get pretty good when Dad's out there in the funeral parlour car park with you every weekend, and we had, obviously it was quite popular at school, not many people. One had a go-kart, but two had somewhere where you could race it. So, I think, Dad has some good ideas sometimes. I think that was one of them because I was able to go on and get my driver's license from my days in the go-kart. As soon as I hopped in the car with the instructor, they're like, "Oh, you've done this before." Oh, maybe. So no, hats off to him. I think Mum will now say the same thing, but back then she was not on board at all. It was before I could walk. And she's going, "You can't even walk yet. What are you doing?" But no, sometimes Dad sees sense. And so I say it achieved a few different things. So it was good.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, as you said, like you went and you got your license or your you sat your test and then got in the car and did your practical, and the instructor recognized your skill, right?
Yeah.
And because you said you were worried because it's supposed to be 20 or 30 minute drive, and after 10 minutes he pulled over and said, "We need to have a chat," and your brain's going,
Oh, no.
shit, am I that bad?
Yeah.
And he pretty much turned around and said, "You're good." After 10 minutes, you've been riding or racing a lot, so here's your license, right?
Yeah. He was like, "It's not in a race anymore. You're trying to see what it is and see. It's time to take me back, and you can go home." Like, oh, yeah, okay, that was easy. Yeah.
So you move on from primary or intermediate, and you go into college. Obviously this is the teenage years. Things are a lot different. 5 and 6 year olds just want to hang out and have friends. 14, 15, 16 year olds talking about it. I've got 2 in my house. Most days they're arseholes, and I'm their parents. So I can imagine how they are to people or peers and other and kids and people that are a little bit unique, different to what they perceive. So I know you also moved to a college that would support you, because the local one you wanted to go to that all your friends would unfortunately couldn't support you, or they weren't willing, right? So so it was, the journey in college wasn't as fruitful or as fun for yourself as, let's say, primary school was.
Unfortunately, no. It wasn't as enjoyable as my primary and intermediate up until then. And look, I think Mum and Dad made the right call, because I was able to, they got me prepared for what I wanted to do. But yes, it was a bit of a struggle to college, and I think, as you alluded to, 13, 14, 15, you get a little bit more aware of not only yourself, but how other people that are perceiving you. And I left this place where I had, like, the whole school knew me. We're talking 700 people.
Mhm.
They all knew who I was. No one really messed with me because I had more friends than what they did. But here I was on my own. So it was just a really different dynamic. I remember sitting in my class, my first form class, and I tried to talk to someone, and they just didn't even acknowledge me. I'm like, oh, maybe they didn't hear me. So I said something again. They're like, oh, hi, yeah, and then just carry on. Like, oh, next guy, same thing. I'm like, oh, this is a bit weird. Like, what's going on? What's going on here? And, yeah, it didn't work out. No one really wanted to, I guess, be seen with the disabled guy. That became very apparent. I got bullied at most lunchtimes. It was pretty hard. I can take a few things. I got a pretty colourful vocabulary, and I was always getting in trouble from a very young age for my vocabulary. So, none of that really bothers me. But when, these people, anyone that was so science of getting to know me, they would get bullied for reaching out to me or for, trying to include me. So, you get all these people unwilling to talk to me, but then they get ridiculed for it. It's like, I've never experienced that before. And I just lost all the self-confidence that I had built through, primary and intermediate. It just got shot to bits, and I just withdrew and do things I normally would. Wouldn't go out and join the guys for rugby or whatever. Just too worried about what people would think, what people thought of me. And that was not me. Not the kid that I was. But it was rough. Like I say, most of it was just that whole. I couldn't quite get over how, I get blamed towards me, calling me names. Yeah, all right, cool. That shows their level of intelligence, really. But to then take that one step further to people that would show signs of getting to know me, it just made me so isolated, and I just felt really alone for the first time of my life. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, teenagers, like I said, they can be AOs, and a lot of times they, most, you fit in, you don't fit in, you got a group, you don't have a group. A lot of times, irrespective of where you sit in that space, you just want to be acknowledged, right? You just, whether you've got a big group or small group, sometimes you just want someone, when you talk to people, you just want someone to acknowledge, talk back, and so, but it's even just that social interaction that to most kids, helps them through the day. My daughter with autism, social interactions isn't the easiest thing. She can't read sarcasm at all, so she takes everything personally. So even when I'm very sarcastic. So when I say something at home, I've got to go, here's my line, and then straight afterwards I'm like, sarcasm. So then she goes, oh, okay, because otherwise she takes it personally. So there's a lot of days you're like, how was school, how was this or how was that? And then she goes, oh, it was all right. Did you hang out with anyone? And she's like, no. And it's, it's hard for her, but sometimes it's also, you just want someone else to acknowledge or say hi or speak up or something, like that. So that helps the both sides. And you don't need kisses and cuddles and hugs every single day as a teenage kid to feel like you're part of a group. You just want to have it that when you speak to someone, go, hey, how you doing? The person actually goes, hey, great. Hi, how are you, Mark? Yeah. And it's just that small interaction that actually sometimes helps kids that are struggling or, that just need a bit of that interaction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, that's what was missing. I was a social kid. I was so
Mm.
coming into that was just so much of a different and eye-opener, I guess, and it was a very shit one to learn. There were school counsellors and stuff worried about me, and they're like, oh, what's happening with Mark, but I never went down there. I never got that bad where I was like, oh, I hate myself.
Mm-hmm.
I never, started to believe what they were saying about me. I guess the thing that got me was just the exclusion that was the biggest thing that really got to me. But I was able to overcome that kind of rough stuff that was going on at college. I had a clear goal of where I wanted to get to. Outside of school, I had still had a massive friend group, people that loved me and supported me for who I am. So it was I just had to keep reminding myself this is only a small percentage of the people that in your life think about you this way. So I had to try my best to kind of stay focused on the other massive percentage that saw the amazing kid that I was, or supported me, or if I wasn't a friend or a family member to them. And that was, it was hard, but I was able to kind of not go too deep and wallow in what was going on at school, because I had that other network.
But you found your foot in when you left school. So you left year 12, went over to Waikato to study business management, and you sort of found your foot in there, right? You found a place where in a field you love finance, you love business, something you picked up. I think it was from one of your counselors that helped you out, taught you about shares and investing and all the rest of it. And you went to university, or you went to Waikato, and friends, groups, not introduction, but pretty much, partying and alcohol, and you found sort of a space where everyone, you were another smart kid, right? You always were the smart kid, and now you could use your smarts and your superpower. And then you had another superpower which you realized, and I was talking to my daughter, and she's always interested to know who I have on the show, and is it interesting, something special? And I said, yeah, I'm interviewing Mark, and he's got cerebral palsy and, all his journey, but he's got a really cool superpower, but it's very unique. And his superpower is he becomes stronger and better if he has a couple of beers. Right? He can take control of his life more. She goes, what? He becomes better when he's drunk. I said, no, not when he's drunk. If Mark has one or two beers, he can have better control of his movement and his thoughts and all the rest of it. Because just the way the brain is wired in that way, but not 4 or 5. If he has 4 or 5, he's just like the rest of us. We all get it. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. You can see her brain going, he can have 1 or 2, but not 4 or 5, right? So talk me a little bit through, not the 1 or 2 beer part of his drinking, but talk me through the whole big thing with cerebral palsy and that sort of stuff. There's the 2 sides, right? There's the movement and the thought process, right? There's the neuro side of the brain and there's the cognitive side of the brain, right? So, and a big thing, I'll give my explanation and I'll let you go with yourself, Mark, is we're talking about if I need to just go over and grab my cell phone at the moment and not think about it, it's just a simple task of me grabbing my cell phone. That's memory and everything else. But if I have to think about it, I have to then use the thought process, the cognitive thought, think about it and then grab it. And that's with cerebral palsy, that overthinking or thinking about something that all of a sudden makes it that it's a bit more challenging to do that than naturally me just grabbing it, right?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. And look, that where Ian's contribution is great, because I have cerebral palsy, but I never researched it. I don't know what it affects about me. I just live life. That's I've got it. I'm not going to dwell on it, or I'm just going to carry on. But yeah, so Ian, your understanding is quite similar to how I understand. The front of my brain is trying to do the action that the back of my brain is supposed to do, and the front of your brain is where all the simulations all the thought process goes on. So yeah, I start to overthink. The more I try to pick up the book or the pen or something, the wrong part of my brain is performing that activity, which is why I move around so much and things are a bit difficult to pick up. Food's a bit difficult to get into my mouth. I'm terrible trying to eat peas.
I was just going to say peas, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's in a very simple nutshell. That's my understanding. Yeah.
I told my kids the story about bread and the bread clip and the bread clip. Let's just say I had 2 teenage kids laughing so hard, and I'm not going to say anything more other than go. It's in the book. I'm not going to say anything more and give it away. But the bread clip, I was laughing so much. I'd have told my kids the story, and it was absolutely hilarious. It was so brilliant. And your sense of humor about it. But then I love how you try and ask your sister to make you a sandwich after the destruction. Let's just leave it at that. The destruction of the bread, and she gives you shit about it, right? And I love how you ask her for, can you? Well, why don't you make me a sandwich then, right?
Yeah.
And no, that was awesome on that one. So Mark, obviously, you got in through college, you got a degree in finance, you're working with, I believe at currently it's ANZ.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
You're going on stage and doing some keynotes or going speaking around in the community and stuff. When you're getting on stage and everything else, what are you talking about?
But like very similar thing to what we covered. I like to I was a reluctant speaker. I got thrown into it when I was in my teen years. And because someone recognized that I had a story that could inspire people related to it. So I become just talking about my life and how I've overcome the challenges that I have faced. I've spoken to school kids about bullying. I've spoken to adults about the same kind of topic, and with such a big spotlight at the moment on mental health and the struggles that the country faces, I feel like I have a duty to go out and tell my story if it can help someone that is going through a bit of a struggle. They can go, okay, I'm feeling shit about myself, but at least I can get a piece of bread out of a fucking loaf. That's right. So, and that's kind of some of the feedback I was getting after my very reluctant, speaking engagements. And then I had to just embrace it and go, okay, you're helping people. You need to kind of start to become a bit more open to being able to do that. Like you say, that's my main things are, overcoming challenges, but motivating. And, as you said before, my parents are the real inspirations. I'm just the product of their work. So, like, with a mindset of my mum and my dad, I believe that anything is possible if you're willing to work hard. Now, some people hear me say anything is possible and don't hear the second part of that statement. If you work hard, that's what we did. That's why I'm here, and I'm a bit massive believer in positive or just the right mindset, hard work, and anyone can achieve whatever they want. We face lots of challenges, not in the book as well, and we instead of fighting the system and going, or just sitting back and going, you know, oh, it's shit, the system is not supporting us, so we're just going to put Mark in the corner and wait for it to get better. Well, yeah, I wouldn't be here without it. So we all know the system ain't going to get fixed overnight. So it was up to us to go, okay, that's not quite good. We'll park that, but let's find a way where we can achieve our desired outcome. You know, how can we make this look? And, you know, we got creative. We made ways that I was able to participate in activities and things, and even college with university, you know. And so yeah, I say my speech, you know, good talk, mindset, you know, positive mindset, and you know, just a willingness to work hard, and what can be achieved with those two things combined.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, Mark, question for you is, with your cerebral palsy journey that you've gone through, and just some people out there that might be interested, is what is the life forward for yourself around CP? So, in a simple sense of, obviously at the moment, does your life stay as it is? Is there obviously there's neuroplasticity? That's, you know, that neuroplasticity is the concept where the brain can try and help repair itself or take on education and learn from itself. Does life get same, better, or worse over the next 5, 10, 20 years for yourself around CP? How does that look like for yourself, Mark?
So I don't have to do the intense therapy. Like that's I've walked and taught, and the good thing is that the more you do, the therapy is, the more you do it, the more you get better at it. So the more I walk, the more I do stuff, I'm still doing therapy. If I become a big fat lazy prick, I'll probably start to go backwards.
So someone like me, like, you know, big and fat and lazy, right? So if it was me, yes, I'll be in trouble, right?
So for your words.
Nice deflection.
But no, it's look, there are always things that I can do to get better.
Yeah.
You know, there's parts of my life where, shit, man, I'd love to just be able to do that. And I'm sure there's stuff out there that I can do to do that, but I need to look at I love the saying, the switch to equity.
Yeah.
It's like, is my input, what output am I even getting? What do I have to sacrifice to achieve that? Like, I have a mortgage, I have a family, I have responsibilities, just like we all do. I have a job. You know, I can, there's things, the more I do for myself, something has to give, right? So yeah, for me, it's about maintaining where I am now, and yeah, not going backwards, because if I did nothing and started doing, not moving or anything, then my body would start to seize up again and get worse. Yeah.
So, question to yourself, Mark, and I'm one of the very few people that normally would be willing to ask this question, right? If knowing what you know now, if you had the genie in the bottle, would you change anything in your life? Would you want to go back, and if you could magic wand it and not have CP, knowing what you know now?
I love that question. It's an interesting one, because my sister, she said it a bit. She got asked it, and she said, she said, only if, only if my physical limitations went away. But the way Mark is who he is stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a very similar mindset is that I believe I've met the people I have, and I have a great relationship with so many people, and this ability to connect with people, see through their bullshit, and just, so it's, I don't think if I went back to my birth and mum and dad did something different, or the nurse did something different, I know that I wouldn't be that kind of person I am. I know, I wouldn't have those connections. I'm thinking, well, I guess one thing is no, I would, apart from all the work that my parents went through, I don't wish that upon anyone. I would do it for that reason, but I wouldn't do it to change myself. I can't finish myself, but I get by. Like, it may look like I don't eat, but trust me, I can probably eat what you do. Like I say, I've managed to get by this far. And I'm all about people. I love people, and like I say, the connections that I have. So no, I don't think I would grant that wish. It would probably be something more like, having NVIDIA shares in my portfolio 10 years ago instead.
Or Bitcoin, right? Or I understand in Bitcoin. Mark, as we sort of get into the end of today's show, I've got a couple more questions for you to end off. So question is, what's next? So Mark, author, working, as you said, standing out there, normal life, mortgage, all the rest of it goes. What's next for you? Where do you see yourself as the next step from here?
I would like to just, the book stopped when I was 24. I'm now 30 years old.
Yeah.
I've actually achieved quite a bit in that time. And like platforms such as these are a great way just to continue to tell that. So look, I would love to be able to share my, motivate people and share my experiences. These people can get some inspiration from me. That's sort of where I see myself. I don't know about book 2. I think this one's already taken up quite a bit of our spare time. But at the end of the day, I've got here because I've just lived my life as you or someone else. And that's I just see myself as another human with, I have a duty to give back. Life is precious. We're giving it, it's not right. So I just want to achieve the normal steps of life. And working toward just that. And if I can inspire 1 or 2 people along the way, then I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, that's amazing, Mark. Last thing for you today, is there anything you want to leave our audiences? Is there a last message or anything anyone that's watching or listening, is anything you want to just leave them with a thought for today?
Well, I really appreciate you having me today. I've enjoyed some of your talks as well, and I would really love to know more about your transition from the horses cleaning street to what we are doing now, because I imagine that when you set out to do this, it looked, you probably had a different thoughts of what it's become today. But I just want to say I do admire you for recognizing that that wasn't the way he wanted to be portrayed anymore. It takes a big person not only to change that, but to also admit that and put that out there and say, yep, that would probably be shit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have a go this way. Although, I've loved hearing some of your other content. Look, if you're listening to this, go and have a listen, because your story yourself is great as well. But look, if you're interested in me, I'm literally an open book. I don't have much that I won't share. I love to talk, so if anyone is interested in the book, it is on Amazon. Look at Wobbles Mark Wilson. It could come up. And then I'm obviously available for motivational speaking. I've spoken to many corporates already, so it's not, you won't be popping my theory. It's something I'm a bit more experienced in. But just like, I like to hear other people's stories as well. I like this kind of scenario where we can, I believe everyone has a story or a challenge or a struggle. I never put myself out there and go, my one was harder or more important. A lot of people do say that, but I don't look at it like that. Your struggle at the time, it feels like the word, like that's all you can say. Like it's the Goliath, right? So I'm never saying mine's better or worse. So I want to hear it and that helps. And some people you don't even know, they're carrying a story with them, and it's like, I love hearing that. And it's simple. I like people. I like to connect with people. We all gotta make the world go. We all gotta make the world go down together. Just that'd be my last sentiment, I guess.
Thanks so much, Mark. Your story, there's so much more to your story. Like you said, you're an open book, 100% open book on this. You talk about moments that most people wouldn't share, right? There's a lot of moments I laugh, a lot of moments I would cringe if I ever had to. My first adult escapade, adventure with a woman, I would never put that in a book. You did, and it was very well done, by the way. I don't know about that part was well done, but the story part was very well done. And there's like, stuff in there. I was like, that's hilarious. That's crazy. I would never put it in a book, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thanks so much, Mark, for coming on the show and sharing your journey, and talking about, what you've gone through and everything else, and showing that, we all have lives and we all go through our lives and we all try to make a difference. We all try to be who we are, right? Irrespective of where you sit. We all try to be who we are, and hopefully it's someday when we get judged, we can say we helped one person or we inspired one person. And I know yourself, that's true to your sense of trying to go out and help people and inspire people. And I am, again, so humbled to have you on the show and had spoken about your story. And thank you so much, Mark, for coming on here. And as always, to everyone else, thanks for coming over to the Wolf of Queen Street podcast, Wobbles. Tears, Laughter, Love and Inspiration, co-authored by Ian Hunter and Mark Wilson. One of the best books in over a decade. I mostly do Audible, but this, I couldn't put it down. 2.5 days, finished the book. An amazing story about yourself, Mark, about the triumph that you yourself gone through, the hard, dedicated work that your mother went through and your father to raise someone that is changing the world, and absolutely love it. And Mark, thanks so much.
Thank you. That was great.